It is a weird process day for me today in daily fantasy baseball because usually I am all about spending whatever I've got to do a pitcher to get to a high salary guy, get to a guy with a lot of strikeouts. We've got Garrett Cole on this slate, which usually would mean to me, I'm just going to spend whatever I need to jam in Garrett Cole. But for today, I feel like we've actually got leeway to go a little bit lower salary to pitcher, try to find some strikeouts on the cheap, and splurge at hitter. So let's dive on in, talk about that, and get you set for tonight's slate. This is the FanDuel Live Q&A right here on the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter channels. My name is Jim Sonis. I am a senior writer and analyst for numberFire.com, here to take your questions live on air for the next 25 minutes to get you set for today's daily fantasy baseball slate. As always, make sure you are subscribed to the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter pages and get those questions in no matter where you are watching. We'll take questions from all four of those platforms in the chat section. So put them in. We'll take them live here on air for today. Quick scheduling announcement. Tomorrow we'll have our usual schedule, 4 p.m. MLB. On Thursday, we're going to have a breakdown of Bucks Cowboys at 4 p.m. I'll be going through some props, single game DFS stuff, talking betting angles to that game. That's at 4. MLB will be at 4:30 that day. MLB will also be at 4:30 on Friday after our snake draft with myself, Brandon Gadula, and JJ Zachariason. You can get your questions in around week one's NFL DFS slate then. But let's dive in to tonight's slate by talking to Taylor first over on Facebook. Taylor is asking, top 3 starting pitchers for today. The top 3 starting pitchers for me are Max Fried, number 1. Love his matchup here versus the Nationals. Fried getting enough strikeouts recently, but also suppressing hard contact, keeping balls in the ground. The Nationals, a depleted roster right now. Fried in his past 13 starts, more curveballs, has a 26% strikeout rate, low walk rate. He's awesome. So I think the Max Fried saving salary at $9,300 lets you stack Coors Field, lets you stack the Dodgers, and feel good about it. So Max Fried, to me, is the number 1 pitcher. I do like Zach Gallen. I think he might be a bit of a tougher sell. Facing the Rangers for today, the Rangers offense is not good. They also don't draw walks, and that's good for Gallen, who does have a walk issue. He's always had a walk issue, probably always will have a walk issue. So I like Gallen, 26% strikeout rate over his past 8 starts with more four-seam fastballs. I think he's number 2. Number 3 is Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, I think you can stack the Giants with him. It's kind of tough, but I think you can make it happen. So I think that Garrett Cole is number 3. So top 3 pitchers for you, Taylor, are Max Fried, Zach Gallen, and Garrett Cole. Let's talk to Savon. Any weather issues for today? No, we're actually good to go. There might be some issues with Wrigley, so check back on the Cubs game, but I think that one should be fine. Savon also asked best starting pitcher and stack for single entry, and Diffuse also asked for a single entry pitcher as well. To me, because I truly want to get to the Giants and the Dodgers today, I'm going to go Max Fried for single entry. Again, I think that the matchup is good here at the Nationals. They're definitely better versus lefties than righties, but they're still not a good team, given just the number of pieces they've lost, what that lineup looks like in general. I think it's a good spot to go with Fried for today. So if we're looking single entry, Max Fried is my pitcher, and then Savon answering your question about stacks, I think that the Dodgers and Giants are the way to go for stacks for single entry. Savon, question about the early slate. What teams do you like there? I've not had time to research the early slate because I have to get set for NFL on Thursday. So my non-main slate research be very limited. Just looking at things very quickly, I don't feel confident in it, so I'm not going to give recommendations. Sorry about that, but NFL season, things are just very, very compressed. Kyle, are Pujols and Loaisiga usable for lower salaried exposure to the Dodgers and Giants? I probably would try not to go Pujols just because, he will leave games early very often, and that is super annoying. So, Longoria. Why did I say Loaisiga? I don't know. Do I have the Yankees? Anyway, Pujols probably not trying to get there. As far as Longoria goes, if he plays, he's fine. He doesn't always play versus righties. But if he plays, I'd be there for sure. I think that's okay because Longoria is not one of the guys who would leave for a pinch hit or something like that. So if Longoria plays, yes, I would just not assume that he plays based on the way they've used him versus righties recently. So keep that in mind. If he does play, though, I'm good. And I think that La Stella is a good way to get lower salaried exposure to the Giants, too. But, Kyle, I do like the broad line of thinking, getting lower salaried exposure to good teams. Ian Nev over on Twitch. What's up? Who's hot? Who's not? We're all hot here, Twitch. Ian Nev, we're playing some daily fantasy baseball. It's the first week of NFL. We're all hot. We're all feeling good, ready to rock for the month of September. John, how would you stack the Reds? So the Reds are actually, I think, a pretty solid option for today. Facing Adrian Sampson. Don't know what their lineup will look like yet. I'm guessing Tyler Naquin will probably be batting second for today. I think that Naquin is really fun because I think he works as a one-off because he is lower salaried, which means I can go to him even while I am stacking elsewhere. So that's going to be a major plus in his favor. So I would say Naquin is going to be most likely the first guy I lock in. Let's check out the other numbers here for the Reds. Let's go ahead and just put Naquin in there first to see what we're rocking with from a salary perspective. Used Kyle Farmer a bit recently, but mostly versus lefties. Versus righties, Farmer, let's see where he is at right now. 120 ISO versus righties, probably not quite high enough to get there. So let's go. I guess we can make this a Fried lineup too. I think if I'm using Fried, I'm probably trying to get to the Giants and Dodgers, but why not? Let's just roll with it anyway. Let's go with Naquin first. Probably going to want to get India, Vato, Castellanos if I can. Let's see if we can make that work. Let's go with Castellanos. Let's go Vato. Let's put India at second base specifically. If we do that, we're at 29.50 left. It's definitely a little bit dicey. You're not going to be stacking the Dodgers there, but I think there's some value plays we can work with. So I think this is probably the way I'd be leaning with the Reds. Let's check out Mike Mustakis and what he's been doing recently because he's been hitting the ball better than he was before. We might be able to go with him instead of India just to save a pretty healthy amount of salary. Let's go here, check out the game log for Mustakis. And let's go past let's go 4 weeks-ish. If we go 4 weeks, 8.8% barrel rate, not a lot of hard contact. The ISO for Mustakis in the time, 164. Underwhelming. I would say that he's fine if you need to save some salaries. If you want to go with Mustakis down here, that does do quite a big difference. So if you can get to India, I'd prefer him. But if you can't, Mustakis is fine as well. Jerry, good day, Jim. Good day, Jerry. How do you feel about these teams? Kansas City, Baltimore, Boston, kind of like the Yankees, Houston, the Dodgers. I love the Dodgers. I think they're amazing. I think they are a top 2 stack for today behind just the Giants. And the Giants are better because they're at Coors Field. Outside of that, the Dodgers would be pretty good. I do like Kansas City and Baltimore. I prefer Baltimore because there are more guys on that team I actively want to use than on the Royals side of things. I do like Perez and Mondesi, assuming that they're both in there. Yep, Mondesi is batting 4th for today. So I do like Perez and Mondesi as one-offs. Edward Olivares down in 7th could work too. Just harder to get to a full stack there because I don't know if I'll be able to get to Perez and Mondesi from a salary perspective. Olivares more of a one-off. The Yankees facing Steven Matz. I think Matz is pretty good personally. 31% hard hit rate allowed over his past 10 starts with more sinkers, 33% fly ball rate. I'm okay being lower on the Yankees. Houston, actually the Red Sox I missed. Red Sox facing Rasmussen. Don't mind that one personally. They're pretty high salaried. So again, they're not going to be, I wouldn't put them above the Giants or the Dodgers, but I'm okay with them. And finally, Houston. Houston is facing Logan Gilbert. I know the results been rough. I know he's let up a lot of hard contact. I probably still wouldn't get there because the strikeouts are good. So to me, Jerry, of those options, Dodgers 1, Baltimore 2, Royals 3. Darren, best one-off on this slate. So I think it depends on where your salary is, because if we're just talking about the best overall hitter on this slate, I think it's probably Brandon Belt, like dollar for dollar, because he's $3,300 at Coors Field, monster power. But, he's $3,300. So it's not like I want to plug this guy in order to get salary flexibility elsewhere. So I think Edward Olivares is a pretty good one-off. I like DJ Stewart too. Both those guys are in the lineup batting 7th and 6th respectively. So I would say those two guys grade out pretty well. Cedric Mullins also a good one-off along with Perez and Mondesi. But if you want a salary saver, I would say Stewart and Olivares. If you want the best overall hitter, regardless of stacks, regardless of context, give me Brandon Belt. Jerry, would you stack Atlanta with Fried? Okay, so Paolo Espino this is over his past 6 starts with his velocity being down. 22% strikeout rate, 5% walk rate, a lot of hard contact, and a lot of fly balls. That's actually a pretty good recipe for stacking. The Braves are not low salaried, so it does mean you're using them at the expense of the Giants and the Dodgers. But Jerry, let's say your goal is to find, some ways to get around the popularity of the Giants and Dodgers. I think the Braves are actually a pretty viable option there. So Jerry, I don't mind that. I think that's actually a fine way to look at things. Got a couple of questions on Jimmy Lambert from DJ and Nick. So let's go check out Jimmy Lambert over here, getting a spot start against the A's. A's are pretty good. So that's a tough way to start things off there for Lambert. I don't think it's a good matchup for him. If we look at Lambert down in AAA, 32% strikeout rate, but still didn't get good results because he walked a lot of guys, and that was in AAA. He also let up a lot of fly balls. In a small sample in the majors, his swing and strike rate is 9%. So I would rather stack against Lambert than use as a pitcher. So to me, Nick and DJ, I would say avoid Lambert. And DJ also asked about Eric Lauer. Not enough strikeouts for me. Philly is pretty good against lefties, so I'd be avoiding both those guys personally. Tim, is the Yankees and Giants the Yankees and Giants good money line picks? Okay, so the Yankees minus 235 in the money line. They've got Cole starting. It's a really juicy number there, Tim. I don't think there's value there. I'm not betting the Jays, but I also don't think there's enough there for me to justify betting the Yankees. The Giants money line minus 220. They're at Coors Field. Logan Webb is pretty good. If you made me choose, I'd probably go the Yankees because they're at home. But I think that both those numbers too steep for me to actually pay them, Tim. So personally, I will be staying away. Diffuse, Royals stack or one-offs. I prefer probably one-offs. I think you could go with like a 3-player stack of, let's actually build this out here. Let's go with Olivares. I'm on the Reds. That's why. Let's go with Olivares. Let's go with Mondesi. Let's put him at second base. And let's put Perez at catcher/first base. If we do that, we're definitely not like saving salary here. You could probably go Michael A. Taylor, sorry. $2,500. We've got Santana, not as good against lefties. Benintendi, meh. You could go hard hit Witt, I guess, if you wanted to. He's pretty good. I'll put Witt in the outfield since I have Mondesi at second base. Do that 31.75 actually isn't bad. So I would say they're better for one-offs Diffuse, but I also think that you could justify stacking them, whether it be a 3-player stack with Olivares, Mondesi, and Perez, or tossing in Merrifield and making it a 4-player stack. Mike, can we stack the Rays if they are unpopular for today? The Rays are facing Eduardo Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez is pretty good. I know he's had some really bad starts, but I think he's a good pitcher. He does suppress hard contact. He gets strikeouts. The Rays will strike out. Not as good against lefties as they are against righties. So personally, the Rays not on my radar for today. DJ, would you go to Jackson Kowar, Alexander Wells? No, they don't get strikeouts. Hard pass for me on both those. Kevin is asking, are the Braves and Giants good stacks? I love the Giants. They're my number one stack for today. Kevin, definitely on board there. The Braves think are a good, like, under the radar stack. Let me check that. Let me check their implied total to see if it's higher than I thought it would be. Because if we're talking about them being under the radar, probably best to make sure they're actually going to be under the radar first. And they have the second highest implied total. So they're not going to be under the radar. Actually, the Dodgers, where are they at? Are they not on the board? Okay, they got taken off the board because the Dodgers starters have been out. It's going to be Mitch White starting for, or not starting, but being the bulk reliever for the Dodgers. But I think that maybe this keeps people off the Dodgers a bit. Like, they still gotten buzz today from what I've seen, so they're not going to be under the radar. But maybe that does keep some people off the scent. But I do like the Braves and do like the Giants. Savon, if I am making more than one entry today, shall I load them all up with San Francisco and the Dodgers, or are they so they are consistent, or shall I switch it up? So it depends on how many you're going, Savon. Like, if you're going 10 entries, you can differentiate there. If you're going 2, I would probably use the same pitcher and go with the same stacks and just change which players you use within those stacks. Because to me, I don't want to differentiate if I'm just doing like 2 lineups or 3 lineups. I would rather just give myself more chances at hoping I hit it right and hitting it that way. That's my way of playing because I am okay burning it all down for one night and just missing on everything. But I think that for me, that is probably the better way to play things. So if you're just doing like 2 or 3 lineups, I would say keep the same pitcher, keep the same stacks, and just change which players you use within that construction. Savon, do you like Oakland, Chicago as a game stack? So it's Kaprelian starting for the A's. I don't like stack, quote unquote. Well, I don't feel the need to stack a lot of games in baseball just because it's not as dependent on a shootout to go really high. Other thing is that it's a cooler temperature for today, 66 degrees. So I think that the A's are fine individually. I wouldn't actively try to stack that game up, though, if that's where you're looking at that one. And then, Savon, I think a lot of people would fade the San Diego game later on tonight. I would not stack the Angels against Snell. I know he's had some issues. And the Padres are fine, not great against lefties, not the best park factor either, so I'm okay being lower on that one, too. Kenneth, how do you feel about Logan Webb tonight? Sinker slider pitcher. So I think he's really good. He's a really good pitcher. And I was kind of hoping he wouldn't have been as high salary as he wound up being. He is $9,700, I think, which is just, it's really high. So that's a bit of a bummer because I was at least interested in potentially using him as a pitcher, but then I saw his salary be 97, kind of got scared off. That's probably going to scare other people off too. So I think you could justify Logan Webb because he's really good. If you look at his numbers here without accounting for park factor, 28% strikeout rate, 2.93 skill interactive ERA, a lot of ground balls facing a bad offense. I think you can use him tonight, Kenneth, as a way to differentiate, and maybe the high salary scares people off. But if we're talking about like without thinking about things, without thinking about without considering popularity, I wouldn't get there just because of the salary. But I think that you have a window to get there because people will probably avoid him, as I initially did, due to the high salary. Orozco is asking Mets Marlins moneyline thoughts. Again, I haven't researched that game because it's not on the main slate, so I'm not going to be able to give super great insights on that one. Jerry, so if I play Ozzie, Riley, Swanson, and Fried, should I go with a 2-player Kansas City stack and a 2-player Baltimore stack and a 1-off to have exposure? I would try to concentrate it more, Jerry. So pare things down. I would say if you go with Riley, Swanson, and Ozzie, you're probably going to be spending a lot of salary. I would say go with like a 4-player Orioles stack or a 4-player Royal stack. Both those teams are pretty low salaried. So you do have ways to get around that and make that work. So I would say, Jerry, pick 2 teams. You know, keep the Braves as 1 stack, but then pick either the Orioles or the Royals as your second stack there to keep things more concentrated. Also from Jerry, do you believe in Jake Odorizzi? Not really. Let's see here. Where are the numbers on him? Okay, so this is Odorizzi over his 11 starts, more splitters, 19% strikeout rate. I know he's facing a high strikeout team and he's at home. There are not enough strikeouts there. DJ, would you rather stack against Gilbert, Odorizzi, Happ, or Knebel? Knebel's just an opener, so he won't be out there very long. Or Chichi Gonzalez. By the way, the Cubs put out their lineup. Okay, so I'd stack against Chichi Gonzalez first because he's facing the Giants at Coors Field. So rather stack against Gonzalez first. Happ would be second, facing the Dodgers. Dodgers, really good team. Happ has still been struggling, even though he's had some good matchups. He did well against the Pirates, but that's the Pirates. Dodgers are a bit different. So stacking against Gonzalez first, followed by Happ. And then I really don't want to stack against Gilbert. Again, I know the results are bad. I know the hard contact is bad, but I believe in the skills, believe in the strikeout rate. So I'd probably go with the Mariners versus Odorizzi next up. Kyle, do you like a Gallen, Dodgers, Giants lineup or a Fried, Kansas City, San Francisco lineup more for single entry? It's a good question, Kyle. I feel like Gallen probably won't be on a lot of rosters. The problem is I do think that there is a decent gap between Fried and Gallen. So what I might try to do is go with Fried, use some of the like lower salary Giants like Tommy La Stella. If he winds up being in there, I haven't seen a lineup yet for the Giants. Let's refresh one more time here to see if it's out. It is not. But like if you go Tommy La Stella, let's just do this here. Why not? We're here. Let's party. Under the assumed lineup here for the Giants, let's go with La Stella. Hope he bats second. Might not, but let's see. Let's put him there. Let's go Brandon's. Let's get Belt in there. Oh, they didn't keep it. Okay. Let's put Crawford in there. And let's put Posey in there. If we do that, we're at 32.75 left. I think you might be able to get some Dodgers in there. It does mean there's no Will Smith, which is a bummer because 32.75, or there you can't use catcher / first base. Maybe we get Longoria in there. Let's see what his salary is. Longo is 31, so you could go take out Posey, put in Longo. Then you can go with Will Smith. Maybe you can make that one work. I would say at least make an attempt once the Giants lineup is out, once the Dodgers lineup is out, to get both the Giants and Dodgers in there. My preferred route for single entry, Kyle, is getting in both the Giants and Dodgers if you can make it work. If you can't, I would say Fried, Kansas City, San Francisco is probably still the preferred route there. Savon, I stacked on Boston yesterday. Won't do that again. Thinking about San Francisco stack and a Boston stack. Oh, you slacked on them. Okay, my bad. I misread there, Savon. So Boston is facing Rasmussen. Again, I think that's actually an okay option, Savon. I'm not opposed to that. Rasmussen doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, does let up a lot of hard contact. Let's check out what the results have looked like for him recently. Guessing it's going to, it actually went to the right page. How about that? Let's party. Let's party. Let's get rid of Lambert there. Don't want that tab open. And results in this 5 starts. It's a 5. Yeah, so the results been very good, but did you see Boston last time out in that game? 30% hard hit rate. That's actually pretty good. Okay. Play discipline numbers. 17.6% swing and strike rate. What on earth? What do you do? Okay. So the pitch mix is pretty similar. Velocity was good. Maybe that's it. Anyway, I know that the results been good, but I don't think it's like the most terrible idea to consider stacking Boston and see what happens. So I'm not opposed, Savant. I think that's fine. Julius, top 2 pitchers for tonight. I would say it's going to be Fried and Gallen. I think that I'm very close to putting Cole above Gallen and saying go with Cole and use the mid-tier / lower salary Giants, and then going to the Orioles or the Royals for that second stack. So for me, I would say it's Fried and Gallen, but I'm very, very close to going Cole over Gallen. You could talk me either way. I think they're in the same tier, but me, I feel pretty good putting Fried number 1. DJ, stack the Rockies. No, I wouldn't personally, just because Logan Webb's so good. He's disgusting, man. This is an 11 start sample since he returned from the IL. 20% fly ball rate, 28% strikeout rate. Not a lot of walks, 2.93 skill interactive ERA. The Rockies aren't very good against righties, so I know they will be less popular than usual because it's a tough matchup, and I know it's Coors Field. But as a Logan Webb believer, I am okay. Not being in on the Rockies for today. Jerry says, okay, good thought process. So in a large field, how would you stack Atlanta, Baltimore, and Kansas City with Rodriguez as pitcher? I know I said I probably wouldn't stack against Rodriguez because I do like him. I'm also not as itchy to use him as my pitcher. I'm pretty sure he just faced the Rays recently. I could be imagining this. He just faced him last time out. So, I think that because I just saw him, I'm okay not getting there personally. So I respect him a lot, but I probably won't be using him today as a pitcher just because I did see him recently. But if we look at guys, like let's say you want to go Gallen. Gallen's around the same salary as Rodriguez. I would say if you're going with Atlanta, load up on the studs. Get in Freddie Freeman in there, assuming that he's in the lineup for today. Let's go over here. Check out the Braves lineup. Freeman is in there. So I would say get the studs if you're going Gallen. Get Freeman in there. Get Albies in there. And if I had to choose, I would probably say Riley and then Duvall or Soler. Let's see who's the lower salary. That's a stupid cop-out, but like whatever. It's fine. Between Soler and Duvall? Let's go Duvall. Okay, so let's go Duvall over Soler. So the Braves stack would be Freeman, Albies, Riley, and Duvall. And then use the value options on Baltimore and Kansas City. Mike says, thank you. Now let's win this money. I agree, Mike. Let's go win some money. Let's start this day off right. Build our bankroll before NFL season starts. Get a home run call from DJ. Okay, DJ's home run calls. Juan Soto facing off with Max Fried. So DJ is rebelling against our top pitcher for today. Okay, DJ, I like it. Trevor Story, Charlie Blackmon, and Matt Vierling. Okay, so he's going into the Rockies here with Story and Blackmon facing Logan Webb. The one thing I would say there, DJ, is you're targeting a lot of guys who get ground balls. Webb is a big ground ball pitcher, as is Fried. So I try to find some guys who let up some fly balls. My home run calls for today on the solo shot were Brandon Belt and DJ Stewart. I think I'm okay sticking with those just because Stewart wound up batting 6th, I believe, for today. So I think that's okay. And I am good at that one. And Belt probably going to be at a good spot in the order for the Giants. Let's refresh here one more time and see if the Giants lineup is out. It is not yet. Okay, so no Giants lineup. No Dodgers lineup. I feel like they're conspiring against us to make sure there's no Reds lineup. Of course there's not. So the lineups we actually want to stack are actually not available for today. We do have the Orioles and the Royals, so we can look at those. Yeah, Olivares. Let's check out the Orioles over here and see if we can find any inspiration within this lineup. I think Stewart's going to be the main primary lock. Looks like Savon wants a Jorge Soler home run today. I'm into it. No objections here, Savon. I think that's fine. Let's go over to the Orioles, check out some salaries, and put Stewart in there first because I like the salary on him at $2,500. Okay. Mullins, no Mancini for today. Mountcastle, 219 ISO versus righty. Santander has been hitting the ball a lot better recently. All those guys that were a bit higher salary. Let's check out Austin Hayes and his numbers versus righties. 151 ISO, 38% fly ball rate though. Can get some steals. I want to get Mullins in there. I know he's not like low salaried, but he's fine. Let's check out Jorge Mateo as well. 140 ISO, 5 stolen bases. That's not terrible. The results aren't great, but that's fine. So I think that if you're trying to jam in all your Dodgers and all your Rockies, get Mateo in there, and then I'm probably going Mountcastle by a hair over Santander. But I think that the first two guys I'd lock in for an oil stack would be Stewart and Mullins. Mullins is too good for me to pass up, despite the salary. Okay, let's finish up here with Jerry's home run calls. He's got Ozzy Albies, love it. Brandon Belt, love it. Benintendi against the lefty. And then he wants Mountcastle. I'm pretty sure Mountcastle's Jerry's boy. I like Mountcastle. I think that's a good call there. And then Kyle Seager facing Jake Odorizzi. I think that's definitely a viable spot for today. Again, my home run calls, Brandon Belt, DJ Stewart, going yard for tonight. That is all the time that we have here for today on the FanDuel Live Q&A. As mentioned, though, make sure you are subscribed because we got a lot of good stuff coming up later on this week. We have got the Bucks Cowboys preview coming up on Thursday. We have the snake draft coming up on Friday to get you set for week number 1. That is still going to be in addition to MLB. MLB will still be here 4 o'clock tomorrow, 4:30 on Thursday and Friday. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you're watching and swing back here once again at 4 p.m. tomorrow. If you've got more questions for me, I am on Twitter at Jim Sannes, JimSannes. Big thank you to Joy Affleck, our video producer, for running the video side of things here today. Thank you, Joy, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in and asking great questions. As always, win some money tonight, as Mike said. We'll talk to you once again tomorrow. This has been the FanDuel Live Q&A.